Have you ever started a project thinking, this should be pretty easy? Then somehow, you keep adding more things, and more things. And before you know it, you accidentally scope creep yourself. That's kind of where I am right now. And honestly, making this game has been a lot harder than I expected. After my first two projects, I felt pretty confident. I had the basics down, I understood Godot a lot better, and I finally felt like I could actually make things work. So when I started this pinball game, I genuinely thought it was going to be manageable. Like, yeah, it's a new project, it's bigger than before, but I had done it twice already, so it shouldn't be that bad. I knew what I was doing. And honestly, the beginning went surprisingly smooth. The ball worked, the flippers worked, score was being added, balls were being lost. And after a bit of polishing, I basically had a functioning pinball game already. But I wasn't really satisfied with just that, because I never wanted this to be just pinball. From the beginning, I wanted to have a roguelike elements too. Rounds, item, a shop system, build variety. And I thought, how hard can it be? It's just pinball, with some roguelike stuff on top. Turns out, it's harder than I thought. So I started adding these roguelike elements. And at first, it felt fine. Like I was just slowly building on top of a working game. But this is where things started to get a bit out of hand. The shop started as something really simple. Just two hard-coded items to test if it even worked. And it did. So I just kept building on top of it. This wasn't a good idea. I made a list of visible items I wanted. Started adding them in. More effects, more logic, more everything. And at some point, I just couldn't find my way around my code anymore. It wasn't built to handle any of that. It was just temporary to test. And that I kept just expanding. Until it became something I genuinely didn't understand anymore. Every temporary solution slowly became permanent, and I kept telling myself I'd clean it up later. So I made a decision. Instead of trying to fix something that was already a mess, I rebuilt the whole shop system from scratch in a separate project. Proper structure, readable code, something I could actually work with. And rebuilding that alone took me days. This is where things started getting a bit chaotic. Because once you have multiple systems in the game, they all start connecting to each other. The shop affects the items affect balancing affects the gameplay, and suddenly, changing one thing affects a bunch of other things too. And I don't really have a clear plan for all of that yet. I started jumping between everything. One moment I'm working on the shop system, then I'm fixing the win screen, then I'm tweaking the score, then I get distracted by some other part of the game. And after a while, I realized I was slowing myself down by constantly switching between things. I'd open the project to work on one thing, and somehow end up working on something completely different. The bigger the game got, the harder it became to focus on one thing at a time, because everything started to feel connected. And at some point, it stopped feeling like I was just adding features to a game, and started feeling more like I was trying to hold together a bunch of systems all pulling in different directions at once. And then I started noticing something else. It wasn't just the systems that were harder than expected. It's all the stuff around them too. Because once the code actually works, that's honestly just the beginning. Art, sound, animations, game feel, balancing, menus, polish, all the things that you don't really think about when you first start building something. And right now, most of that just isn't there yet. The score still just changes instantly, the shop just pops in, there's barely any animation or feedback. It works, but it doesn't feel finished. And that started stressing me out a bit, because I didn't really want to show the game too early. I wanted to look good first, something that actually feels presentable. And honestly, in my head, the game already feels way cooler than what's actually on screen right now. I can already see what I want it to become. It's just not there yet. And I think that's kind of what this whole process actually is. You don't just make the good version first. You make version 1, and version 2, and version 10, and version 15. And somewhere along the way, it slowly starts becoming what you originally wanted it to be. But the more I worked on it, the more I realized something. If I wait until it feels perfect, I will probably never actually show it. But the funny thing is, I'm not really struggling because I lost motivation. I still really like this game. I still want to finish it. I still want to release it. It's more like I underestimated what I actually was building. Because at the start it just felt like pinball with some roguelike stuff. And in my head, that sounded way smaller than it actually was. Because every new system I added somehow created even more things that also needed to be made. And I think this is the part a lot of solo developers run into. Not that they stop caring, but that the reality of finishing something is just way bigger than they expected going in. You start with one idea, and then slowly realize how many small things are actually connected to make it work well. But even with that, I still want to keep going. Maybe just a bit more structured this time, a bit more focused. And instead of hiding the game until it feels perfect, I want to start showing it early, get feedback, see what actually works, and improve the game with that input. That's also why I want to put it on itch.io at some point soon, so people can actually play it while it's still in development. Because right now, I'm basically building in isolation and guessing a lot of things. And getting real feedback would probably help the game a lot. I'm still figuring things out as I go. And even though it's messy right now, I'm still excited to see what this game eventually becomes. That's where I'm at right now. Back to work.